Imagine living in a place where the truth always speaks, even when no one wants it to. In Akûn-Ọjọ, a young girl was born with a gift no one could escape, but what she revealed was never meant to destroy, only to teach. In the quiet village of Akûn-Ọjọ, a morning unlike any other arrived with a whisper. Roosters crowed as they always did, pots clinked softly, and the air smelled of warm pap drifting through open windows. But beneath the ancient mango tree, a mystery waited. Nana Owura found a baby lying among fallen leaves. There were no footprints around her. No mother calling her name. No movement in the silence except the soft rise and fall of the child's breath. The only clue was a folded cloth beside her, glowing faintly as though a tiny star had wrapped itself inside. When the child opened her eyes, the glow deepened. They were bright, calm, and knowing, as if they saw much more than the world around her. The villagers gathered, murmuring in wonder. They named her Rukiti, the one who sees without looking. She grew quickly. She laughed often. And the village adored her. But soon, they noticed something strange. A mark on her skin, at times small, at times almost invisible, began to shift when someone nearby lied, or stole, or whispered harmful gossip. When mischief stirred, the mark stretched, glowed, or rose like a small blossom. And when it did, Rukiti spoke the truth aloud with simple, innocent certainty. Akûn-Ọjọ was never the same again. One day in the bustling market, Rukiti, no more than 7, licked sugarcane as she wandered between stalls. Drummers practiced rhythms. Women haggled loudly. Smoke curled from roasting yam skins. Then, suddenly, the mark along her wrist stretched softly. She stopped. Her eyes widened. She pointed at Muya, a proud woman arranging charcoal, and said, Muya hid charcoal inside her wrapper. The market froze. Shock hung in the air like dust caught in sunlight. Muya's proud face trembled, then gave way. She admitted the truth, not from wickedness, but desperation. Instead of anger, the market embraced her. And from that moment, they understood that Rukiti's voice revealed truth not to shame them, but to guide them. As Rukiti grew, so did her gift. When someone lied, the mark on her neck shimmered. When someone stole, a petal-like swelling rose on her shoulder. When gossip stirred, a thin ribbon along her arm lengthened. And always, after the body spoke, her voice followed. Clear. Unshakable. Some feared her. Others admired her. But none doubted that truth flowed through her like water. One festival night, lanterns glowed across the square. Music danced in the air. Children ran between stalls as the scent of roasted corn trailed behind them. But little Jola began to cry. Her embroidered cloth, the only one she owned, had vanished. The crowd searched. Whispers swelled. Suspicion twisted through the air. Rukiti stood near a pot of sweets. Her wrist warmed, glowed, then stretched. She lifted her hand and said, The cloth is in Balemu's basket with the blue bead. Gasps rippled through the market. Balemu, quiet and soft-hearted, opened his basket, trembling. The cloth lay inside, taken by accident as he sorted his wares. Forgiveness came easily. Music returned. Lanterns glowed even brighter. And the village learned that truth could repair far more quickly than it broke, but gossip, was the one fire that spread without smoke. Rumors flew across Akûn-Ọjọ like restless birds. Someone accused Tyle of courting the wrong cousin. Someone claimed Adu insulted the council. Someone hinted Mama Muru watered her neighbor's cassava in secret. Each time, Rukiti felt it. Each time, her marks paused and she called out the source. Embarrassment softened tongues. Rumors shrank. Honesty grew. As the rainy season faded, the villagers created a new festival, the Festival of Honest Lanterns. Everyone brought small truths folded in cloth. One by one, they stepped into the lantern circle, revealing hidden mistakes, forgotten apologies, and quiet regrets. For every truth spoken, a lantern was placed at their feet. The square bloomed with gentle light. That night, Rukiti did not speak once. Her marks glowed softly, peaceful and warm. Truth had walked on its own, but not all truths were so gentle. One dry afternoon, Rukiti's shoulder mark lifted sharply while she passed the millet stall. Without hesitation, she declared, Konye added extra weight to Boba Kofie's millet. Again, silence fell. Konye's sly confidence faded. Under the questioning gaze of the elders, he confessed, he feared falling behind richer merchants. Fear had pulled him toward dishonesty. The elders chose restoration over punishment. Konye returned the stolen grain. He apologized. And he rebuilt trust slowly, carefully, measuring each transaction with new humility, but Rukiti's power also uncovered hidden kindness. Yebi, a shy girl, had been leaving mangoes for schoolchildren every morning. One day, Rukiti's arm shimmered warmly, and she announced Yebi's secret gift. Instead of shame, joy blossomed. The village celebrated her kindness, and soon others joined her in giving. Yet not all visitors came with good intentions. A traveling merchant once arrived offering to capture their faces in pictures to sell beyond the village. The idea teased the minds of those who wanted extra coins. But Rukiti's neckmark lengthened, warning quietly. She said, faces are not stories to sell. Lives are not goods for strangers. The elders agreed. And the village kept its dignity. One morning, heavy rains from distant hills made the river rise violently. Boats tipped. Stalls flooded. Panic surged. Rukiti felt urgency burn through her marks and shouted instructions. Villagers joined hands, forming human chains to rescue children, elders, and goods. Not a single soul was lost. When the flood passed, they looked at Rukiti with gratitude deeper than fear. Secrets in Akûn-Ọjọ often smelled like ginger. Sharp, sweet, and impossible to hide for long. This became clear when a widow named Mariamu began receiving anonymous notes. Someone was leaving firewood by her doorstep, water by her hut, and quiet offers of help written on folded pieces of leaf paper. The village wondered who the mysterious helper was. Whispers circled. Suspicions tightened. Then, one afternoon, Rukiti felt a tender warmth beneath her skin. The mark along her shoulder did not rise sharply this time, it simply glowed with soft understanding. She stepped into the center of the curious crowd and said, "The notes come from Yube. He wants to help without shame." Yube's face flushed. He lowered his gaze and admitted that he feared Mariam might reject kindness if it came from someone younger. Or someone who had little of his own. But the widow smiled, touched by his intention. She told him that kindness was not something to hide behind shadows. And the village nodded, learning that generosity was strongest when offered with sincerity. Not secrecy, Rukiti's presence calmed more than secrets. She carried an old lullaby taught by Nana Owura, a gentle tune about a moon that watched over people with patient mercy. Whenever she hummed it, argument softened. Even the most stubborn goats seemed to pause and listen. One day, two families clashed over the boundary of a small garden. Their voices rose sharply. Accusations flew like stones. Rukiti stepped quietly between them and began to hum. The lullaby drifted through the heated air, soft as cool mist. The families gradually lowered their voices, then their pride, and finally sat beneath a neem tree to talk instead of shout. Her song reminded the village that sometimes peace begins with listening, but not all lessons came gently. Niba, a strong farmer known for his proud nature, had quarreled harshly with his daughter Tara. His raised voice had pierced the night like a cracked drum. Rukiti passed his compound days later, and her neck mark lifted gently, remembering a wound left untended. Niba spoke with harshness to Tara. She said quietly, the truth stung him. That evening, he sat with his daughter beneath the mango tree. No long speeches. No ceremony. Only cola nuts, warm broth, and simple words, I was wrong. After that, he rebuilt their bond through small, steady acts, fixing her toy, sweeping the yard, showing her planting songs. The village understood that truth can open a wound, but healing is a choice made slowly, with humble hands. Not all mischief was born of malice. Sometimes it came from boredom and restless youth. One night, teenage boys decided to trick the village by pretending a stranger roamed the dark paths. They knocked on doors, rustled bushes, whispered lies into the moonlit air. Fear tightened around the village like a rope, but Rukiti's wrist mark rose with irritation, not alarm. She stepped into the darkness and declared, there is no stranger here. Only boys with mischief in their pockets. The prank collapsed instantly. Instead of punishment, the elders gave them days of service, carrying loads for market women, repairing fences, sweeping the communal square. Through work, they learned responsibility. Through honesty, they learned trust. Days later, the village whispered again, this time about Leah, a hardworking mother who stitched cloth by day and molded pots at night. People wondered why she slipped out after dusk. Some suspected trouble. Some assumed secrets. Rukiti passed her in the market, and a soft shimmer ran along her collarbone. She spoke with gentle clarity, Leah works at night to keep her children in school. The market fell silent. Shame spread among those who had doubted her. In moments, hands reached out offering support, extra fabric, leftover clay, safer work ideas, and helps for her children. Leah's burden grew lighter. And the village learned that hidden struggles are not evidence of wrongdoing, they are simply stories waiting for understanding. And still, the rhythm of life continued. The old bell by the council house, once used to gather the village for meetings, celebrations, and warnings, had long gone silent. Cracked. Forgotten. One morning, Rukiti passed it and felt her wrist twitch, rising lightly. She touched the bell and said, this bell is broken. Something meant to call us together has been silent too long. The villagers gathered. They scrubbed rust. They patched cracks. Children fetched sand and water. Men lifted tools. Women polished the metal. By sunset, the bell hung strong once more. When it rang, the sound echoed through the village, deep, familiar, ho. The bell returned not just as an object, but as a reminder, community must be maintained like a hearth fire, tended. Repaired, honored, then came the caravan with the strange mirror. Its polished frame shined like a captured river. Its surface reflected every detail perfectly. Villagers marveled at their own faces. Children giggled. Adults preened and adjusted their clothes, but soon, people stared too long. Too deeply. Pride stirred. Insecurity followed. Comparison crept like a quiet snake. Rukiti felt her collar mark warm. She stepped forward and said, This mirror reveals faces, but not hearts. Use it wisely. The elders placed the mirror beneath the mango tree where its presence would remain a gentle reminder. People used it only when needed, not to admire too much, not to diminish themselves either. They learned that reflection should guide, not rule. During the harvest celebration, joy burst across the village like bright fruit. Drums thundered. Dancers spun. Lanterns swayed overhead like little suns. But envy, sharp and sudden, danced into the circle. A jealous cousin gave a small shove, pushing another out of rhythm. The music faltered. The dancer stumbled. Rukiti's shoulder mark flared immediately, revealing the truth. The cousin apologized. Forgiveness was offered. The drums resumed. This time with a deeper respect, joy carried gently, not carelessly. Even small mischief mattered. As Akûn-Ọjọ grew, so did its understanding of truth. Rukiti was no longer someone the village feared or whispered about. She became someone they turned to for clarity, not answers. And on one final night, beneath lantern light and the old mango tree, the village understood her gift at last. It did not rise only at wrongdoing, it stirred at honesty itself, at apologies, at gratitude, at courage. And quiet truths finally spoken, Rukiti realized then, she was never meant to expose people, only to help them recognize the light already within them. As the lanterns lifted into the sky, the village no longer depended on her voice. They had learned to speak plainly, listen deeply, and carry truth with care. And so Akûn-Ọjọ moved forward, with honesty as a shared responsibility, and understanding as a way of life, because truth, when held with kindness, does not divide, it becomes light. Thank you for walking this journey with me. If this story warmed your heart, made you reflect, or reminded you of the beauty in simple things, don't forget to subscribe to Fables by Timo for more tales that touch the heart and stir the soul. Until I bring you a new story, keep your heart open, and remember, every fable hides a truth. Bye for now.